All right. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Between Two Teachers. As usual, a lot of things going on in the area of education. Sometimes we're just the main course of all these issues. So this is Friday, October 8th, and my name is Consuelo Lara.
And I'm Madeline Cronenberg. And as always, I'm going to read our land acknowledgement, where we pause to acknowledge that we have gathered on the ancestral territory of Huichin, part of the unceded land of the Chochenyo and Karkan-speaking Muwekma Ohlone people. We remember their continued connection to this region and give thanks to them for allowing us to live, work, learn, and pray on their traditional homeland, and offer our respect to their elders and all Ohlone people of the past and present. And speaking of our indigenous ancestors, you went to a powwow this weekend, didn't you?
I
You should give a shout
did.
out to the powwow folks.
Oh my goodness, and it was so wonderful. It was at the Wind River Casino in Reading. And yeah, it was a really big celebration because what they do every year is they honor their elders in that community. And I mean, they just treat them like, royalty. There was a ceremonial dance, there was a big dinner. The families get up and share about the lives of these individuals, these elders, and then the whole family and extended family all gets on stage for photo op, and they're it is wonderful. It was an honor to be there. It was a good friend of mine that I've known since childhood. It was her mom that was being honored. So
How
yeah, it was wonderful. And yeah, I posted as much as I could on.
you did a great job of posting it. So and actually I'm going to post some on the Between Two Teachers page. We'll send some over just so people who are interested can take a look at that. And what was the name of the tribe that they were part of?
There was two of them. One is Pit River and the other is the Windtune. So that's why it's called Wind River Casino and area. And I think it's the Shasta Council. So that's the larger region, but it's Wind River. Yeah.
They were great pictures.
You.
Well, so it's been a busy week.
Yeah.
Among other things, there's been a lot going on as far as school districts and the vaccine, and the fact that folks are making choices around whether or not to mandate vaccines. And one of the things that is pretty clear is that that's the ultimate weapon that we have against the virus is the vaccine.
Absolutely.
And so our governor has issued a requirement. It's the first state so far. He's the only one who's done it, but he has added the COVID vaccine to the list of necessary vaccines for children to receive in order to be in school. And as soon as the vaccine is beyond its emergency use and has been accepted as appropriate, which are the vaccine for the 12-year-olds is, it can be mandated, and it is now in California going to be added to the list. And the same thing then ultimately will be true of the vaccine for younger children, for children from 5 to 11, and then ultimately for children who are below 5. And so that process is started in California. Of course, it is controversial because we certainly have community members and within the state that do not want their children to receive the vaccine. Within Contra Costa County, West Contra Costa, our district, had a very tumultuous meeting and ultimately did pass, became one of the 5 districts in Northern California to pass a vaccine mandate requirement. And their mandate requirement is that our students who are 12 and over are vaccinated by, I think, December 17th, so that when they return from winter break, the first week of January, everyone is vaccinated.
Yep.
And if you're not vaccinated at that point, then you would have to, you're choosing to go into independent study and not be in a classroom.
Yeah.
And that's, but that requires, so the thing that will do it will free people up, I think, from the testing requirements, which are now taking up a tremendous amount of time. And it will then, however, require a much greater level of support for the students that are in independent study, because there will be more.
There will probably could be, yeah. And we had mentioned this before, that it, thank goodness the governor saw this, as we had mentioned, it needs to be on the immunization card that.
Right. Yeah, we
and
did, and he did it. He's put
mentioned
it right there.
He must have
He
been
put it,
listening.
of
But-
course.
But anyway, so that, and the process is, oh, you're not immunized yet, here's a list where you can go get that and then come back, because that's the requirement. So
Right, and the vaccine's being offered at school sites. It's not like this is a difficult thing. There's no expense,
Nope.
right? It's just a decision that a family has to make.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the process is now. There has been so much confusing information. So many people are still struggling with making the decision that it's a problem. And so interestingly, the districts that have chosen to go ahead with a much stronger mandate than the one that the governor has done for the state are West Contra Costa, LA. Los Angeles is the big leader because they're the largest district in the state, and they've done it. Los Angeles, Oakland got passed. Actually, they did it before West Contra Costa. Piedmont, which is probably which is a very small and incredibly affluent community, they did it. They voted for it, and they did it. And Hayward.
Yes.
Right, Hayward, which is very similar to Oakland and West Contra Costa in its demographics, but they voted to do it. So those are all the districts that will have a higher level of protection as far as the vaccine goes, basically starting in January.
Yes, exactly. And those people that fought so hard, open schools. Okay, they're open. We want them to be safe for our children, families, and employees. Then we want to stay open. You want to stay open, get a vaccine. If that's what you want, the schools to stay open so you can go to work and the economy can go, kind of get better, then these vaccines are the key.
They are working. I mean, this is the whole thing. They are working. And
They're
so
Yeah.
that's the important part of this. And so
Yeah.
for families that are not going to do that, what there has to be is, there will be more homeschooling. There's no question about that to me. And so whether families go into independent study or go into their own homeschooling route, because that's happening, across the country with people who are who now are realizing that they have a big level of discomfort with sending their kids back. That's an option. And what has to happen with independent study is there has to be a way to staff up the department if they're going to have a lot more students. They're going to have to figure out the materials for them and
Yeah.
the processes to support them. And
Yeah.
that's a work in progress. They never expected, really, independent study had a very small percentage of students up until now. And there was a reason why you would be in independent study and not in the classroom.
Yeah.
Right. And that's very much changed now.
And
So
there's-
all of this has created
pushback.
lots of pushback and very strong feelings. So that what's happened across the country, and we've talked about this before, but it has not gotten better, it has simply gotten worse,
Yep.
is violence at school board meetings.
Yes.
And it got to the level that the National School Board Association wrote to Biden, to the White House, to President Biden,
Okay.
and to the Department of Justice, And so the Department of Justice, together with the FBI, is going to do a task force specifically addressing the harassment and potential violence at school board meetings.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You don't have you have free speech, but that doesn't include the right to threaten people's lives and
No.
their families, for crying
No.
out loud. Oh,
No.
what's
Now,
going
you
on?
can disagree, and then you can you can recall people. Like in San Francisco, they're doing that, and there've been many recalls throughout the state. And then, you can run for office, or you can find somebody who agrees with your positions and have them run. That's how it works.
That's it.
But now what has happened is that these organizations have taken a position against the Department of Justice's position to do the task force. So it's escalating. It truly is escalating, and the dividing lines are getting deeper and deeper. And that is what is so unfortunate. And huge amounts of effort and time are being, distracted from the work of teaching into this management of people who are pro masks. And it's not you're pro masks. You're trying to be pro health.
Oh, health. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of these groups, they just create this fear. It's really fear-based. Like,
Yes.
oh, they're coming to get you, going to take your rights away, blah, blah, blah. But personally, when I look at all of these people against, for instance, ethnic studies, by talking about critical race theory, anti-mask, anti-vaccine, there are also the groups who want more restrictions on voting. So they're against really open voting rights. I mean, these are all, I think very racist as well. There
are all different parts of the puzzle. And what's happened is the folks, very right-wing group, many very right-wing groups have seen this as an opportunity for them
Yes.
to use their funds and their PR skill sets.
Yep.
To mobilize groups of people and bring more and more folks in to basically be anti-public education. That's what it's coming down to.
That is,
right?
yes.
And people who were not ever going to be, about privatizing or could care less about privatizing may have a very different position about a vaccine or about a mask, because they've been led to believe that can hurt them. Right.
Yeah.
Or that somehow their freedoms are impinged upon. So anyway, that's the big milieu that we're in right now. We're waiting to see. I mean, basically, there's now the students who are 5 and over, that eventually that's going to be approved too. But because right now they're at risk. They're not being vaccinated.
Yeah.
Right. They're the most, and they're getting sick, which it didn't happen a year ago, right? You weren't hearing that.
Yeah. Going back to those groups, if we follow the money, they're all pretty much coming from the same kinds of pockets, right? If you really, okay, all right. So we know that.
Yeah.
Because that's how you know when who's behind all these things. You got to follow the money, and you'll see that. But getting back to, you're right. Children are getting sick, so that's even more reason for this people to be vaccinated, and hopefully they will get that one approved for the little ones under 12 very soon. And we just all want to be safe going into
right. And as California, I mean, people are saying, in 5 years we'll look back at this, at when they added the COVID vaccine to all the other vaccines and what it was like before that. But right now we're in the middle of doing that.
In the middle.
Right. And it is going to happen, because they are able to make it, and they'll test it. And honestly, they will perfect the test if that's what has to happen. But because that's what they're doing. And it's just now a question of rolling through the time for them to develop it, but also this whole political challenge of understanding how complex this is, and that if somebody has a strong feeling about the vaccine, they are now being lumped in with people who have feelings around critical race theory.
Yeah, It's bizarre.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, anyway, it's something to really pay attention to. And as you look at each group, sometimes I think that what happens is everybody gets involved in the thing that is important to them, and they're not always necessarily paying attention to all of the things that are important to the people that are bringing them in,
Yeah, yeah.
you know?
That's a good
And
point.
there are some attorneys that are making a lot of money with these
Ugh,
lawsuits.
with these
And so
laws.
it makes you wonder, well, who's paying that?
Yep.
Who's paying? But anyway, so there's a lot more to come on that.
Yes.
But that's where we are. And so the vaccines have been, there are mandates and there's a mandate for it certainly in West Contra Costa, and we'll see what other communities do it, whether if there are any other counties that do it. We'll see what else is happening in terms of vaccine mandates as time goes on. The other thing I did want to talk about, I wanted to give two big shout outs to two different groups that are really doing good work that has nothing to do with this. And however, and that's sort of a relief at this point. The first one is the San Mateo County Office of Education. The San Mateo County Office of Education has developed a plan for sustainable and climate ready schools. And they are taking it upon themselves to expand their menu of services to help the schools and districts in San Mateo County become sustainable and climate ready. And they're working with partners, including the San Mateo County Office of Sustainability. So they're partnering with their county. So the County Board of Education and the County Board of Supervisors are partnering to bring the schools into being sustainable within San Mateo County. That is a major best practice. I mean, our children are very aware of climate change and the threats that climate change has. And I would think that the students in San Mateo County are going to be even more aware. They're going to understand the sea level rise. They're going to understand all of the which is very specific to San Mateo County, but all of the other issues around fires. Fires are a huge issue in San Mateo County.
Yes.
All of them are issues in San Mateo County, but to see that they and their Board of Education, that their county office has been very proactive around climate change, extremely proactive. But for me to see that they've reached out and they've brought the county in at the same time so that all of their school districts are now being served, I think is a really strong leadership on the part of the county and the County Board of Education.
Great role model, great best practice for the rest of us counties. Yes.
Absolutely. Everybody, and it started with a resolution.
Yes.
They did a resolution committing themselves to take action, and then they took action.
Perfect.
So that's San Mateo County. And the other one is another county, and it's Stanislaus County. And Stanislaus County is in the process of preparing to receive 1,000 Afghan refugees. And their school district is getting ready to support these children and these students as they are processed and sent from the processing sites that they're at right now.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing we don't think about, because here is the entire issues around the end of our time in Afghanistan, and all those folks who did get out of Afghanistan, now they need to go on with their lives.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Right. And they're all over the world, actually. I mean, there are many different countries that took them, but in the United States, and there are also, I'm sure, other states that took greater number of states that had large Afghan communities that were able to bring them in. But 1,000 are going to be in Stanislaus County.
Stanislaus County. Oh, well,
So
being proactive, being prepared, and taking care of those children that are going to come with them.
right.
So,
Modesto City Schools has
Good
set up
for
a welcome center for them.
oh,
So a
that's
shout out to Modesto City Schools
absolutely.
for the incredible good work that they're doing
Yes.
to support these refugees.
Good for them. Good.
And that's it for this week.
Yep. Who knows what'll be happening next week?
Who knows?
Who knows?
We will see you then. So.
Oh, bye-bye.